But there are those situations where I know if I keep engaging this person, I might get to a point where I don't want to get, and I just don't want to snap and act in a way that I might regret later on. And I'm like, why did I even tell this person this? Like, was it even really necessary? And did it even give me any satisfaction? Because that's also what I always think about it. Okay, if I make this person feel bad, what does even that help me? Because it literally doesn't give me any satisfaction. Okay, you felt bad, and then you know, it's not adding any value to me.
You just feel
really
how it normally feels like, because I've been there before. It's like you have transferred that anger to the other person, so it's like you feel a bit lighter, which is not a good way of doing it.
You feel,
but it's like you have transferred that anger to like it's like we are sharing. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Balance It podcast. Balance It is a platform that empowers young men and women to live a purposeful life.
We delve into conversations relating to purpose-driven living, wellness, fitness, and lifestyle in general. I'm your host, I'm Gertrude Nasike.
And I am Eda Onyoni.
And in today's episode, we want to give a special shout out to, again, one of our favorite supporters as well.
Yes.
And this day it goes to... So today's shout out is to Mina 6128. Yes, you've been a very great support to the Balance It community, and we really appreciate. And this is one of the comments you made in one of the episodes. Thanks for sharing your thoughtful, provoking insights. Fear can also be a powerful catalyst for change, urging individuals to confront challenges and catalyze positive transformations. Overcoming fears propels personal development and significantly enhances self-confidence and self-esteem. This achievement reinforces one's belief in their capability to face and conquer challenges, fostering a resilient mindset for future endeavors. Like this, this comment was really detailed, and it really helped us also to understand fear, and because it was on an episode on stagnation, to understand fear in a different way and how we can use it to catalyze change. And we really thank you for engaging with our content.
Thank you so much, Mina. It feels like we are actually communicating. It's not just us giving, but it is also giving and receiving, giving and receiving at the same time, which is very motivating. Thank you so much, Mina. Yes, and in today's episode, we talked about fear, we talked about confidence, but now today we are going to talk about anger, managing anger. Anger, it's a very harsh topic, but we are facing it every day, and we have to find ways on how to manage it. Even if we are in that position to be in that position of, even if we are in that position of being angry, we need to know how to manage that anger so that we can be able to coexist in the same spaces. So we will be talking about anger today.
That's really stressful. I would say stressful because the topic itself, as you've said, is very harsh. And I would just like to know, before we just go on the techniques for managing anger, like how do we identify these sources of anger? Because I feel like anger just comes from very many places, right? How do we identify some of these sources of anger? Yes.
I think there are very many sources of anger, and it can be from a very small thing as you have stepped on me and somebody becomes angry. And the fact that you have been preaching that we are from diverse backgrounds and we are dealing with people differently. People have different sources of anger. So for me, it might look like it is a small thing that you have stepped on me, and to you it might look like, why am I overreacting? It could be an overreaction to you, but to me it made me angry. And I think there is those small things, or maybe relationships could also be a form of anger, or you had expectations and those expectations were not met. That could also be a form of anger. Or also, maybe you were supposed to wake up at a specific time and you didn't manage to wake up at that specific time, and now it can be a source of anger. So I believe there are so many sources of anger, and that is why we need to talk about the management of this anger, because they in a full day, so many things can make you angry, and now it is upon you to find ways of identifying, is this thing going to make me angry, or it was just a lesson that I need to learn, or it was just something that I need to create a boundary. So that is why it is also very important to talk about the management bit of it.
I can totally agree with what you're saying. And just in addition to what you've said, I believe also disrespect for people's boundaries may cause anger, because this is a source of conflict. If there are boundaries that you're stepping on other people's boundaries, then it's gonna make them angry, because these are areas that maybe they really guard very well, and building resentment from you disrespecting their boundaries is going to cause this anger. Another thing I would like to also say is maybe past traumas might might also be a source of anger, because you might be going through life with past mindsets that were actually affected by situations in the past that you are yet to heal from, and then you keep projecting previous insecurities and previous problems to every new situation that comes to your way. This is just going to cause you more and more resentment. And it reminds me of the analogy we used of a wound that you've closed it up, that keeps killing you slowly by slowly. This is the same analogy we would use even for this anger, because you just keep carrying more and more burdens. Come to think of it, I actually just remembered another one. And I think I shared it with you. I believe so. Where this individual was carrying different weights. He had weights on the platform. He was a speaker, and he was saying that's how anger or unforgiveness looks like. I meet Eda, or we have a disagreement with anger. With Eda, sorry, with Eda, we have a disagreement with Eda, and then I decide to get angry, not forgive. I carry one weight. Maybe it's a 2 kg dumbbell. I carry it. I meet another one in the next room. I carry it. So you end up having so many weights, and he was using these several dumbbells to the point that you're now just trying to pull yourself, but the weight is too much on yourself. But he was saying, in relation to when you've released this anger, you've forgiven these people, you find that dropping each weight, and then it gets to a point whereby you're now very much free, and you can now walk and move forward to whichever goal or whichever aspect of life that you are trying to cover, which is a very true aspect in life. And I would just want to point out those two of them: disrespect for boundaries, and that as well also may cause anger.
And I think traumas are very big, especially in anger, because you find that people are just operating from a point of not knowing their traumas, or how their upbringing affects their relationships, or how it affects how they show up in the world. So you find that you are so much agitated by different things, but you really don't know why. And actually, once you start doing the healing and the analysis, you come to realize that actually it's because you are doing that specific thing, and it was okay when you were young, or somebody kept on telling you that specific thing, and now that became your survival tactic. And now when somebody crashes that thing, you see that even if it is something that you ought to have left behind, you feel so agitated. And until somebody maybe comes and clears your mind, and or maybe you decide to do your healing and you clear your mind, you get to see that actually it was a baggage, it was a weight that I've been carrying for a very long time. Because I believe traumas are, and people have different traumas.
Very true.
Whichever background you are coming from, most people have different traumas. And just an understanding that these traumas can really affect us very much is something that we need to be cognizant about.
That's very true. And how do you now go about managing anger? Because I don't know, you just need, like right now, you really need grace and really patience to really manage the anger, because sometimes things are just too much. But if we think of the fact that if you overreact also at a specific time when you're still so high in anger, then it might cause more problems than good. So how do you really go about this?
That has been a process even for me as an individual. But I from my experience, I can say that it has been continuous practice and continuously being aware of the situation that you are in, and whether that specific situation requires you to actually be angry or continue being in that specific continue being in that specific element that will cause more anger to you. So for me, it has been like going for a walk and not tackling the situation as it is at the moment. And just going and then maybe coming back later to tackle the situation. Sometimes that one has really helped me. And also using things like meditation, that one has also been very big on me. We were talking about being able to do the inhaling and exhaling, the deep breaths as a form of meditation to just also reduce the anger, because it actually works. Because the deep, when you take in the air, it calms your nervous system. And once the nervous system, it's like you cannot detach your emotions from your nervous system. So once your nervous system is calmed down, you get that you get to think a little bit better, and the cloudiness starts to become a little bit black and white, and you get to a specific solution or something. But yeah, for me, meditation has really worked for me, and just walking away, then handling the situation when I'm in a more calm situation. Because initially it could be tackling it head on. You see, when
Bring it.
when they say don't go to bed angry, that was my initial narrative. But right now it's understanding that analogy is not working for me, and sometimes just sleeping over it overnight can help me to just come up with a better idea. Maybe when I'm sleeping, and then when I wake up in the morning, I'm in a better situation to just talk about that anger. So yeah, and also I believe it is also different for each and every person, and also just trying different ways that you can be able to manage your anger. Because the intensity of my anger when maybe you step on me, or the intensity of my anger when I experience something, or maybe an expectation that is not met, will not be the same intensity as you. So I think also understanding that we are different, and also just trying different ways to manage it, that thing that we think are best for us is also a way, because a way to manage the anger. Because you get that we try to force ourselves into situations that I want to do it as Gertrude did it. If Gertrude did it this way, even me, I can do it. So sometimes for me, that one has never worked for me. If Gertrude tells me that you can try this, I try it, and if it works for me, well and good, I continue practicing that. But if it doesn't work for me, then it's best to just drop it and try something else. Yeah.
And I think that's very, very important. Like just understanding what works for you. It brings in the aspect of flexibility when it comes to handling situations. Because that is very essential, especially when dealing with anger. For me, most of the time I just try to stay calm, because I realize that if I'm not in control of a situation,
Mm-hmm.
being more angered is just going to frustrate me the more, you know,
Mm.
and I don't want to get to that point as well. So I would try the breathing techniques as well. But something that has been working for me also lately is just taking a nap, like sleeping. It can
Mm.
be for 1 hour. I will just sleep and then I will wake up with a clear mind and with a clear head, which is very important.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes as I take a walk, please, I'm going to talk to you. If you're the person who made me angry, oh my god, I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to talk to you. But the good thing is that you're not
Mm-hmm.
gonna be there. So whatever I'm saying, I'm just releasing it from my heart, because I realize that if the more you put stuff in your heart, things that are really making you angry, the more you're building more and more resentment if you're not dealing with them. If I'm not in a position to tell maybe Eda, but what you did here was not right with me, and just keep putting it in my heart and don't try to release it from outside or something,
Mm-hmm.
then it's just going to keep building resentment, and then it gets to a point whereby you wonder, why exactly am I seeing Eda and I can't even stand her,
Mm-hmm.
but it's because it's something that has been piling
Just
up for
built
a
up.
while.
Mm.
So what I do is, in some situations when I really feel angered, especially, you'd find sometimes people just really seek for conflict. I will talk to you. Yes, you will be air, but I will talk to you. I will tell you exactly how I feel. If it's I'm feeling that you're being mean, or maybe you should have done this in a different way, but I'm just going to talk out what I'm feeling at that point. That
Mm.
has really helped, and it really helps me to calm down, because I know the effect that words have on people.
Mm.
And I'm always very cautious not to type something or just awkwardly just talk to someone the way I feel like, because I'm angered, because I know I wouldn't want to be treated that way,
Mm.
or I know whatever I might say in anger might really come out and injure this person to a point that we cannot recover that friendship, or we cannot recover that relationship.
Mm.
So most of the time, if there is need be for me to really talk it out immediately, I would just take a walk and keep conversing it with myself. So it's like we are conversing with you,
Mm.
but it really helps me to clear my mind and just to take things off. Yeah.
Mm. Wow, I really like that. And you brought in the aspect of communication.
Yes.
How do you think people should do it so that
Mhm.
it becomes a good way of communicating
Mhm.
between both parties?
I feel like this is totally dependent on the people. We have very different personality types.
Mm.
We have also different ways in which we process information and how we react to situations. There are those people who, in case of anything, their first reaction is always to snap, and whatever is going to come out at that point, that's what they're going to say.
Mm.
But there are those people, like, let's say you, who would decide to, like, just leave the situation and go for a while and then come back later.
Mm.
So I believe it's gonna be totally dependent on your personality types and how you guys, how as a person you react to situations and you approach conflict resolution.
Mm.
There are those who take flight, there are those who really stay and work through it.
Mm.
But you need to understand also the other person. So you need to understand, are these people the kind of uh, flight kind of conflict resolution people, or
Mhm.
they're actually those people who can stay and finish a conversation even if it's heated, and
Mm.
finish it up and get to a conclusion, or that those people who would just snap it out and like move without caring.
Mm.
So understanding that would help you tailor your communication in a way that really helps both of you to understand. But from a personal experience, I would say for me, um, two types have been working for me. Sometimes I prefer solving the situation at that point, but this is at a point where I feel like I'm not angered like beyond
Mhm.
a way that I can control. I a point that I am still calm without having to escalate it to that point. I would prefer us to communicate and actually just come with a solution at that point. But if we cannot come with a solution at that point, we can maybe say, maybe we can discuss it later. But we've already communicated, we have a best ground for both of us, we've decided, let's do it later. But there are those situations where I know if I keep engaging this person, I might get to a point where I don't want to get, and I just don't want to snap and act in a way that I might regret later on. And I'm like, why did I even tell this person this? Like, was it even really necessary? And did it even give me any satisfaction? Because that's also what I always think about it. Okay, if I make this person feel bad, what does even that help me? Because it literally doesn't give me any satisfaction. Okay, you felt bad, and then it's not adding any value to me.
You just feel
really
how it normally feels like, because I've been there before. It's like you have transferred that anger to the other person, so it's like you feel a bit lighter, which is not a good way of doing it.
You feel,
but it's like you have transferred that anger to like it's like we are sharing. So it has reduced.
I remember I would say I used to be that way slightly long ago. I think in my first days of my undergraduate life and also high school, where I would feel good if now I tell you also, and then I feel you felt bad. Now at least I feel satisfied. But later in life, when I started my personal growth journey, it got to a point where I was like, okay, what business do I even have making you feel bad? Because that's just, it's like you've tried to hit me low, and then I now, because it would take me to behave in a way that is lower than what you've done to make you feel bad. Do you understand that?
And that is not you.
That is not me. And then I feel like, what value am I getting from it? Because at the end of it all, yes, you're going to feel bad. And then it has not added something to me.
We have just shared.
For me, okay, I totally understand, but I think for me, it's got to a point where literally my mindset, or literally my heart wouldn't allow me to do that. That's why you'd find sometimes someone really maybe treats you bad, and then I'm always for the idea, but then I'm not responsible for what you think or your version of me. I don't want to say your limited version of me. Like the version you've created of me is a bit limited, so I'm not responsible for that. That is to you. But I'm not going to make myself really fit within your cocoon just in order to make you feel bad. So that's why you would find nowadays how I manage anger, it's that way. If it's something that I can't, like, rarely would you find me just, you say something bad to me and then I say something worse or something bad. No, I would actually just now ignore you. It's gonna hurt. Not that it's not going to hurt. It's going to hurt, but I will now work on dealing with that hurt. Either I'll tell you it hurts and it's not a good thing, maybe you're mean and it's a bad thing, or I would just let it be. But I will not do the same thing to you. I would not like abuse you, make you feel bad about because that's not me. And then I realize it doesn't add value
to both parties.
So I think that's how I normally manage. So depending on the situation, either take some time or talk to you in the air. Then I get back when now I'm calm and peaceful and I can now listen to you from an objective point. Then we communicate and come to a decision.
But I think it takes time for somebody to get to that level.
It takes a lot of time. I'm telling you, there was a time I would feel really good, like, I've told you. It has gotten in, but it takes time. But it's a matter of practice and intentionally deciding not to take a particular path.
And also just knowing what you can tolerate Or
Exactly.
if that person would do that same thing to you, would you be happy? I have a friend who keeps on telling me that, Eda, you have said that, and now are you happy now? And if I could have told you the same thing, would you be happy?
And
Like,
I think
no.
that's that's
And
no.
then now you see you remain there like, okay, then I know I'm the one who's on the wrong. Like he makes you feel so dumb of yourself without you even realizing that you.
But I really like how you put it, like really empathizing with someone else, even in that. I know it's hard during that point of anger, but if you've gone and calmed down and then you empathize with someone else, then you get to understand that maybe they're coming from a different point. And you will try and say, by the way, if this person told me this, I would really feel bad. And I like how you've put it actually. But it's a journey. It's a journey,
It's a
step by
journey.
step journey.
Yeah, because on those times that you are angry, you just want to shout. You just want to let it. You just want to let it. But now that delayed gratification is now what will differentiate you from you who has done the work.
Yeah.
And the other person
who is still working. Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
Or sometimes I also just listen to music. Like I'll just look for music that really blasts my ears. So it's like I'm punishing my brain again. But I feel like after that, I feel so calm, especially worship music just does something different to me. It just calms my heart and then I feel good and I'm back to now being in a position to talk about the situation. But what I realize about managing anger, a very important thing is that do not put it in your heart.
That is another thing.
Do not keep piling it in your heart that, oh, I'm just good. No, let me just leave it to slide. No. There's a difference between just being nice and being kind. Being kind would allow you not to mistreat the other person, would allow you not to abuse the other person or make the other person feel less of a human. But being nice would just want you to allow you to compromise and not tell the other person you're actually not doing wrong.
And it's hurting you.
It's hurting you, and you realize with time resentment is built. So that's what I also noticed. It helps with managing anger, especially long-term anger, because now you're like, Gertrude did this and it did not sit well with me. But I'm not going to let it slide, but I'm not going also to talk to her in a bad way to make her feel really bad. But now you're in a position to like just maybe tell her, but then Gertrude, this is how you talk to me and I didn't feel good about it. Maybe you can try, and then you now communicate and discuss. That's now being kind, even in a way that you're managing anger. And you're not allowing yourself to pile up anger, because one day you will realize, me, I've just passed in front of you. I've not even touched you, Edda. And then you do something so weird that yourself you're even like, yo, but that was not even something big. Why did I react? Because you've been piling several things and several resentment towards a specific issue, a specific person. And I believe with time we also get to that point to feel confident enough to tell people when we feel that whatever they're doing are not sitting right with us, and just move on into the right path.
Hey, I cannot add anything more because I totally relate and I totally agree with you, especially on the point of resentment after piling up so many things. And you realize once you start speaking, you never stop. You find that that moment when you now decide to now speak, you will not be bringing things from last year to now 3 months ago, and you can, in your mind, there is some pattern that has been formed, some behavior that this person didn't do well to you. So you find that there is a pattern in your mind that has been formed, but this person is actually not even aware. They are living their life softly,
the way it should,
the way it should be.
And then I realized also sometimes you find that first time it didn't sit well with you, but you kept quiet. You really felt it didn't sit well with you, but you still kept quiet. So with time, you start piling more and more and more, and then you now say, maybe I should say it. I should have said it from the first time. But now you see, you've already given a leeway of such a behavior, such a situation.
Yeah.
And I feel like it really happens in every aspect of our lives. The
Yeah.
moment you feel uncomfortable with something, I think the best thing is just to let the other party know. But sometimes people are actually not aware, not
But it's
that it's
hard.
intentional, but you need to cultivate it.
Yeah.
The way you just normally say, you say no, but it's how you say it. So you don't say it with contempt, you don't say it with pride, but just enabling the other person know, like, this is my boundary,
Yeah.
or this is how I feel about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, okay. That is enough. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely that's enough for today.
That is enough for
That
today.
is enough for today, definitely.
Yeah, and thank you so much, guys, for continuing subscribing and supporting us as Balanced Podcast. And definitely don't forget to comment, because we will be mentioning your name next time. So don't forget to comment and just let's have that conversation to keep this anger conversation going. How are you guys managing your anger? Let's support each other. Which tactics are you using? And let's just hear from each other.
And until next time,
Bye bye.